All right, guys, what's going on? Today we're back on Borderlands 3, finally, after a month. I know it has been a while, but I'm here to tell you guys I'm all moved into my new house that I just bought. I got my room set up. I'm starting to get it more set up for streaming because I'd like to start streaming on Twitch 2 to 3 times a week if I can fit it in. My work schedule is kind of hectic, so it's hard to make it fit in. But besides that, this is my new Deathcast Amara build from the new DLC 6. Now, this DLC came with a bunch of brand new content, but the main star of the show is our new class mod, the Death's Blessing, hence Deathcast Amara. Because not only are we mixing this class mod with a face cast, but this ability of whenever you get a kill with your remnant orb, you get 250% weapon damage for 20 seconds. I saw that and I thought, well, why don't we mix that with phase cast and now get 500% weapon damage? This build is absolutely insane. Amara, after getting all of her insane nerfs from the patch before this DLC, is now not only melee viable, but weapon damage viable. She finally has single target damage that she has been needing for a while. Is it as good as Zane or Fleck? No, of course not. But when you stack these effects with some guardian rank effects like Armageddon, enemies take 5% more damage per unique stats effect on them, which will be integrated into this build as you'll come to see. You just do so much damage, everything melts right before your eyes. It is insane. I am so excited to show you guys this build. So if you're also excited and want to see some more builds coming out from this new DLC and just some ideas I've had come together, then make sure you subscribe so you never miss out on a video whenever I upload. And why don't you drop a like down below if you enjoyed this build. Now going straight into the build. So this is pretty much your standard phase cast build. We're gonna go 3 out of 3 into fast hands because rush stacks in this build don't really matter. I have 4 points into do harm just to 1, move down the tree, and extra phase cast damage brings extra healing because we're also running soul sap, my bad. So moving on down, we have Transcend for the critical hit damage because if you use your phase cast twice, this can stack and give you a bonus 54% critical hit damage, which adds up really quick. I went 5 out of 5 into Restless just so we can cycle through our abilities as fast as possible, keep our phase cast up, keep that 250% damage up at all times when we don't have the boost from our class mod. I put 1 point into Ascendant just to give us 50% soul sap instead of 30%. I went 3 out of 3 into Wrath just because, again, this is a gun damage centric build, so any amount of points help. Preferably, if you can't get 3 out of 3 into Remnant, which to be honest you don't really need from Mayhem scaling and overkill damage, try and get 3 out of 3 into Wrath just so you can get that up. I'm not sure how high it goes. It might go up to like 42%, I want to say. I also have 3 points into Laid Bare just because anything that gets hit by our phase cast gets dealt an additional 25% damage from all sources, including your friends if you're in a co-op game. And then I just went 3 out of 3 into Remnant, just trying to build up as much damage as possible because since not only did Mara get nerfed, but with Mayhem scaling, enemies have a lot of health, so you won't always one-shot, but I just dumped all my points into it to help with that. And then I have 1 point into Avatar, just so in case, like, let's say my face cast isn't back yet, I can use it a second time, and I can keep up my 250% damage. Now going on to Red Tree, 5 out of points in Infusion, just for more elemental damage, so we can bring up our Armageddon. 5 into 5 in Anima, 5 out of 5 into Tempest, just your basic Red Tree. The only reason I went down to Forceful Expression is because I had a lot of points left over. So I would say these 6 points right here, you can put anywhere, but I'm going to explain why I put them where I did. I got Dread and Deepwell. Because you can switch this out with ties if you wanted to, even though I don't really find it worth it. But you do need 1 point to move down the tree, so you could put it here. You could put it into Wildfire. Doesn't really matter where this point goes. We just need to move down the tree. So 1 point in Deep Well for extra magazine size. Indiscriminate for the ricochet bullets, just to get as much damage on mobs, or for obviously for mobbing. It's just a needed Mara skill. Almost every Mara build runs this. And then 1 point into sustainment just for the life steal, because you need to stay alive. And this, you don't need more than 1 point into here, just because with mayhem scaling and your health doesn't get mayhem scaling. So 1 point in life steal, more than enough. Now, I put 5 out of 5 into conflux, just so that way I have as much of a chance as possible to put as many dots on the enemy as possible. Because if you have, let's just go with, if you have an enemy irritated, ignited, shocked, and corroding, that's 4 status effects. Harmageddon does 5% for each. That's an extra 20% damage there. Plus, if you're using cryo or whatever, that's 25% extra damage for nothing. So that's why I run 5 out of 5 on that, just to put as many status effects on a enemy as possible. And then just more elemental damage. Yeah, it's only 18%, but this doesn't really affect us since we're not running the spiritual driver comm. We won't do more damage to ourselves. So that's why I have that point there. Now moving on to Green Tree, I have 3 out of 3 into personal space, because if you have the 500% with the 2 from 250 face cast and the 250 from our class mod, we can get another 50% damage with whatever weapons if we're up in the enemy's face, which will help out a lot. This is definitely a run up and blast your enemy type of build. The Hellwalker is especially good on this build. If you have all your buffs and you're up in enemy's face with the Hellwalker, you can one-shot some of the triple badass enemies with like the 3 health bars. It's just so good. You guys will see it in the gameplay. 2 out of 5, my bad, into Root to Rise, just for extra health, just because the faster or the higher up we can get our health gate, you guys know the drill. 5 out of 5 into Helping Hands, just help with damage reduction, because all the damage is going to be focused on you. All the enemies are going to be focused on you. And Amara, her health isn't that high, and she's not really like a Moze or a Zane where it can get their shields up really fast. So damage reduction is very helpful. No points in the Purple Tree, no real use for it. The class mod gives you 1 into Atman, but to be honest, I don't find it worth it. And now we're back. Okay, so for our weapons, I have everything with phase cast. That reroll machine has helped me make my build so much better. I might go back and update my past builds to get them more aligned with the anointments that they need. And I still have some guns in here that I'm going to take out from previous games. I was just so excited I had to jump into this build for you guys. So my main guns that I use are the Light Show, the Hellwalker, Plasma Coil, and the Monarch. Pretty much just all the best guns in the game. You guys know what's the best and what's not. If you don't have any DLC, they actually buffed the Magnificent with the last patch. I wouldn't say it's as good as Light Show, but I'd say it's viable now. It's not a pea shooter like it used to be, but you will dump out a lot of ammo doing that. I also don't have any of the new DLC 6 weapons. I know the Torrent is good, but I don't really know much about any of the other weapons, so I can't really speak on that. So for Hellwalker, this is just run up and you want to blast an enemy. This helps you get your Remnant Orb out. So let's say you phase cast, sprint up to an enemy, shoot him in the head. You're going to have a ton of overkill damage if it's like just a basic mob. That the Remnant Orb more than likely will kill the enemy that comes after you, which will give you your comm boost. Let's just call it. Plasma Coil, good single target damage for bosses. Also, I should mention you get this class mod from the final boss in the murder mystery missions. I'm not going to say the name. I'll let you guys figure that out for yourselves, just because the DLC is pretty early. But you kill that boss, not the raid boss, Hemovorus. Everyone knows that one, so I'm not really too bothered to say that. But the other boss from the murder mystery. So that's where you get this class mod from. For shields, it doesn't really matter. I like having a bunch of elemental damage, so I run the Old God, but plus ultras work just fine. Ignore these are going to, this is getting sold, that's going to a different build. So Old Gods or plus ultras both work good. Plus ultra, if you're having trouble surviving, this can get you a bunch of extra health. And some of the bonus effects can be helpful, like bold absorption and movement speed, all very nice. But if you can, I would definitely recommend the Old God over the plus ultra. For grenades, I just run hexes or whatever I can get for the ASE damage and the extra cryo can sometimes freeze. It usually doesn't, but it also helps you heal, so that's why I run that. Class mod doesn't really, I mean, my bad. Artifact really doesn't matter. I have a Snowdrift Victory Rush just for movement speed and extra damage when I kill a badass. Uh, I'm going to switch this out for a Pearl of Ineffable Knowledge. I am going to leave the save in the description below if you want to try out this build. This won't be in here. I'm going to replace it with a Pearl of Ineffable Knowledge, because if you want to use that for even more damage, you can. I really don't know what to recommend. I mean, if you can get a cut purse launch pad, good on you for being that lucky. But I would run that because you can go through ammo pretty fast with this build also. Now running over to our extra weapons, some more light shows of all elements. I have a Hell Shock because after the buff it was pretty good. Same with the Hornet. I have a Shock Tizzy. I don't have any other elements, so I just dropped a Shock one in here. A Maggie and a Trick Shot. I'm not here to argue which one's better. I personally like the Maggie better, but that's just me. But if you prefer the Trick Shot, I have one of those in there too, because they both do really good damage. Bloodstarved Beast, just because it's Amara. I don't have a ×3 version, but ×2 still does very good. I have a Flipper and a DNA, because after the buff, the DNA is also really good. Phaser, because if you put this into Shotgun, the Shotgun Underbarrel, with the buffs, this can also do a lot of damage, and it has a high freeze potential when you're in shotgun mode. I do have a Shock Monarch here with the same buff, but this is the ×8 variation, so you pull the trigger and you'll be out of ammo in like 5 seconds or less. It just eats your ammo alive, but for some shock enemies, it is very helpful. Have a Corrosive Monarch. Reflux with all these boosts is also really nice. If you can get a redundant one, that'd probably be even better, but I don't have one on me. I do have a redundant Convergence though, which this plus elemental damage and all your face cast boosts, this can do a lot of single target damage also, especially if you aim for crits. I have a Recursion in here. Yeah, it's kind of gone off the radar ever since it got nerfed, but it can still do decent mobbing damage. So I have it in here. It's not end all be all shotgun that it used to be, but it's still viable. Threw a Backburner into here just because it's a really good launcher. I prefer this one over the other one. I can't remember what it's called, but it's the one that you get from the Warden. And I have a Sandhawk in here because if you wanted to wait until Warden spawns mobs, you should just melt him, but you don't really need to. But the 250% plus this, it'll melt. You can probably melt General Trump with it too if you wanted, because he spawns mobs during his fight. So just a really good sniper overall. You guys all know this, and we've been through everything else. So I'm just gonna run through it here real quick, just kind of explain what I do. Don't need ammo, but this is Mayhem 10. This build does work on Mayhem 10 and Mayhem 11 both, and as you can see, we're just decimating everything. It does not matter. Let's even get a Remnant Orb kill. Nope, not enough damage yet. Let's see if we can get another Remnant Orb to spawn. There we go. See if we can get a kill with it. Nope. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna try and get a Remnant Orb to spawn. Okay. Not nice, guys. Here. Let's use this, and... Nope, no Remnant Orb. Come on. Even without the extra... Oh, that's a death. As you guys can see, even without the extra buff from our class mod, we still are doing plenty of damage. Maybe? Let's try again. Nope, no Remnant Orb. Alrighty then. Well, that was kind of lackluster. This build is kind of RNG dependent, simply for the fact of that you need to get your Remnant Orb to spawn. But let's go somewhere else and see if I can get it to spawn. Alright, so we're here in the Guts of Carnivora, and I'm gonna try and get the Remnant Orb to get a kill. Okay. It keeps tracking the stupid drones from Mayhem 10. I might switch this over to Mayhem 11 so I don't have to worry about that. Let's see if that one will get us a kill. Nope, doesn't look like it. That is something that they work on with Remnant Orbs, that they like to break themselves on the wall for some reason. Come on. Nope, no Remnant Orb. There is a bit of a cooldown, so you can't... It won't let you completely spam them. But, alright, I'm thinking we're gonna have to switch to Mayhem 11. Yeah, it's going off nowhere, so... Let me get back up, and then I'm gonna switch it over. Don't use the Hellwalker to try and get up, and that's a Death Orbs. Okay, cool. So let's just get rid of this badass. I'm gonna switch over to Mayhem 11. We're gonna try this again. This does work on Mayhem 10, but with the drones and whatever else can spawn in, it could target those, and then you don't get your boost, which also comes back to you kind of like a Remnant Orb. I'll explain it better when I see it, but it has to kill an enemy, and then it actually has to track its way back to you before you get the buff. So let's see if we can get anything to spawn in. Maybe we might have to reload the map. Okay, there we go. You gonna... Nope. Okay, cool. I didn't want you to kill anyone anyways. Use that. Like I said, it's not needed. You still do plenty of damage without it. There's the Remnant Orb. There we go. Now let's see. There, look at that damage. Just completely blast everything out of your way. There, now we got ult ability stat, 17 million. Gone. Badass, gone. Doesn't even matter. Everything's just dead. That's why I love this build, because when you can get your Remnant ability going, you get everything flowing, it just does so much damage. Well, I killed myself with a barrel. That was cool. Well, as you guys can see, I think I've showed off this build well enough. This absolutely shreds. Let's go and find a boss quick that we can fight, and I can really show off this boss killing damage too. Alright, so now that we're back at the Captain Trant fight, I'm actually going to try and get my buff before I go down there, so I don't have to wait for mobs to spawn in down there. Nope, okay. Let's see if we can get Remnant Orb to go and... Oh, game. Okay, there's one. There we go. Come on, game, let me slide, let me slide. There we go. Let's drop down here. Okay, so he's firing ice. Let's grab ourselves. I should have. I prepared myself. You know what? Let's just show off this Monarch. Yep, you know what? That sounds good to me. So we're going to bipod mode. And, yep. Yeah, I know I cheated. I meleeed there. But you know what? Groundbreaker's all part of the game. I call that fair game. But like I said, this absolutely shreds. Honestly, that probably would have killed him, or gotten closer to killing him, if I didn't have the ×8 version of the Monarch. But hey, we're working with what we got here. If you guys enjoyed the build, don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more of these build guides. If you really liked it, hit that like button and maybe drop a comment down below on what character you want to see me do next. Before I go, I'm going to go over some quick pros and cons. A pro of this over, like, let's say the Spiritual Driver comm, you don't have to worry about keeping up your speed. You don't have to worry about accidentally downing yourself with your status effect on you. Over the, let's say, the Phaserker class mod, you don't have to worry about keeping your stacks up. You don't have to worry about fate grasping all the time. And honestly, I think this comes back a lot faster than the phase grasp does from the Phaserker class mod. Maybe that's just a placebo, or because of how much damage this can do. I am just psyching myself out here. But cons, I'd say you go through ammo pretty fast. Some situations, like if you go down and you didn't phase cast first, it can be kind of difficult to get yourself back up at times, but you really won't be going down that much, especially with how much elemental damage you'll be putting down to get lifesteal back. But if you do go down, just know if you don't phase cast first or you don't have your buff, it can be kind of difficult to get back up. I'd say that's a con. Zane suffers from this same problem. All you Zane users out there will probably know what I mean. But yeah, that's all I got for you. So hopefully I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.